So millions will be affected by these changes with massive fines, penalty points, and shame. So make sure you know exactly what's coming. So number one, have you ever driven and your mobile phone goes off? And it could be from the new boyfriend or the new girlfriend, or it could be something really, really important. And you're in a traffic jam, so, you know, maybe you could just have a little quick glimpse, it doesn't matter, or you're at traffic lights, they're red. You know, you're not going anywhere anyway. Maybe you consider it to be an emergency. Well, not anymore. Drivers will now face a £200 fine and 6 penalty points on their driving licence if caught on their mobile phone. Now, when I say caught, this means if you've got your mobile phone in hand in any way, shape or form, doesn't matter if you're looking at it, doesn't matter if it's turned off, if you have your mobile phone on your lap or in your hand, that will be a finable offence. Now, just in case anyone's unclear, when someone gets 12 points or more on their driving licence, they will normally be issued an automatic driving ban for a minimum of 6 months, but the courts would decide if it needed to be longer. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I know myself, if I didn't have a car, I would be completely screwed allude. So it's really not worth it. Now, I'm not suggesting any of you are, but if there are any of you mobile phone addicts out there, here are a few options to try and stop you being distracted while you're driving. Option 1. Now, I'm not saying this is a particularly great option, because it's still not good for your driving and it's still very distracting and can lead to accidents. It's just not against the law yet. Hands-free. Most cars now have Bluetooth, otherwise you can get hands-free headsets that you can put on. That is currently still legal, providing you do not have the mobile phone in your hand at any point while driving. When I say while driving, this means at any point while the engine is on, stopped at traffic lights or anything else, that would count and you would be fined. Now that being said, sat-nav is also fine to use as well. Again, providing the phone is not on you in person at all and providing you are not touching the mobile phone in any way. Putting anything into the mobile phone, such as directions, however, while the engine is on, will again be a finable offence. It's also worth noting, while hands-free is not actually illegal as of yet, you can still be prosecuted for undue care and attention and other things as well, should you cause an incident due to you being on your hands-free. Now, another option for people out there is an app called the Lifesaver app for distracted drivers. Now, this can really help people that are struggling to not answer their phone and it'll train and teach you not to use your mobile phone while driving using a GPS system along with a reward system as well. In my opinion, your best option, get your phone in your handbag or in the glove box, locked away or somewhere that is out of reach, in the boot if you have to, where you're not going to be tempted to answer it to anyone at all. And you never know, you might even start feeling better for not constantly having a mobile. And you never know, you might even start to feel better for not constantly having a mobile in your hand. Number 2, you ever find yourself parking like this? I mean, after all, it's just what everyone does, isn't it? Maybe the road's too narrow. Maybe it's just what everyone down the road does. Maybe you just don't want to risk losing your wing mirrors. Or maybe you're just getting out of the way of an emergency vehicle. Sometimes it's just common sense really, isn't it? As long as you don't block the curb and prams can still get past, what's the issue? Well, that could all be changing very soon, following in London's footsteps where any parking on the pavement is illegal and is a finable offence of £70. Now, this one isn't a definite yet, it is in still review and it's going to be a couple of weeks till we get the actual results, but the idea is that it goes countrywide. Due to the lockdown, the government issued a 6-month extension for MOTs that are going to expire. This extension ran out on the 31st of January. So if you can't use an MOT, make sure it's done ASAP and make sure it's booked in, because if you're caught driving now without an MOT, you could be fined up to £1,000. Now, my MOT is due less than a month away, so I'm not going to wait for the last day of the month. I booked it in, I'm taking it down tomorrow. It's not worth the hassle and the worry. You planning to go on holiday to France, Germany, anywhere else in Europe? Well, maybe not this year, but there's plenty of years to come. Now, the good news is, due to a last-minute agreement, we don't need a driving permit when driving around in Europe. However, we do still need some documentation. You will need a green card, which is provided by your insurance company, and it just shows that you have an insurance policy in place, which you obviously need when driving around Europe. Now, this will need to be on you at all times when driving a car in Europe, so make sure you have it with you. As well as this, if your vehicle's less than 12 months old, you will also need your V5 logbook. It's just something worth noting if you're planning to hire a car or whatever else when going abroad. Have you ever tried racing at the speed of a train? Because it won't be happening for much longer. From the year 2022, all cars in the UK will be fitted with a mandatory speed assistant tool. This means if you go through a 30 zone, for example, if you're doing above the 30 limit, first you will get a warning. If you still do not slow down, your car will actually slow itself down. This essentially means no more speeding in the UK. Permanent. So we've all heard of London's low emission zones that charges people with petrol and diesel cars and any pollutant vehicle really. Well, guess what? They just got bigger, with extra charges starting in outer London boroughs, along with Bath and Birmingham as well. Now, Bath will be charging £9 per day for non-compliant vans, taxis and minibuses, and up to £100 a day for larger vehicles such as lorries. Now, the good news is, however, there'll be no charge for cars and motorbikes. Now, Birmingham, on the other hand, has the tough end of the stick, for up to £8 per day for cars, while HGVs, coaches and lorries are up to £50 per day. Now, there is some good news, especially if you've got an electric or a zero emissions car. Get this, you can now buy a green number plate. Woo woo! I know what you're thinking, swanky. Others of you are thinking, Josh, what the hell is that? Well, the government has suggested that those plates could allow you cheaper parking in areas, along with special zero emission zones that only you guys can go to if you have an electric or a low emissions vehicle. How's that?